I forgave him many years ago. I forgave all my abusers as a way to heal myself. Many people have asked me, how could you forgive them? And my answer is always the same. A, I don't think I can heal without it. And I hope my kids can forgive me. So how can I expect to be forgiven if I don't have the strength to forgive others? And in doing so, in forgiving my brother, I gave myself a fantastic gift, the letting go. And I think in many ways my real journey began the day I forgave him. I forgave Al Robertson in London when he stood up in court and said, I raped you and I'm sorry. And I forgave him that day, on the spot. And forgiving my brother has allowed me to embrace the gentle side of myself. A lot of people were angry at me when I said I forgave him, my mother especially. And I think in many ways Sue is angry and wants me to punish him. I believe in a higher power. I can't say it's God, but I believe in karma. And I think everything will play itself out in the end. In many ways, I feel sorry and sad for my brother and for other abusers because they're sick and they have problems. And speaking as someone who punished others for how I felt, there must be an element of pain in their lives as well. And anybody who has to carry pain, I feel sad for. Forgiveness is both intellectual, emotional, and for me, forgiveness happened for me in two different phases. Three, actually. I forgave my abuser, Al Robertson, when he stood up in court and manifested he was sorry. For what it's worth, I was shocked. I was a bit overwhelmed he said sorry, but in a very positive way. And I stood up and said thank you. And I meant it. My brother, to this day, has never accepted responsibility to himself, to God, to my parents, to me, of course. But I forgave him. And for me, I forgave him because I wanted to let go. And I also forgave him because in order for me to forgive others and forgive myself, it's a growth experience. Carrying around anger, and for me especially aggression, was a trap. And it was a trap that I walked into. And by giving forgiveness, I stepped back out of the trap. And I gave myself the gift of serenity by forgiving. That doesn't mean I'm okay with what happened. That doesn't mean I understand what happened. But it certainly means I'm not defined by what happened. And forgiveness was a part of the reconciliation towards myself, towards recognizing that life goes on. And by not forgiving, I was keeping the anchor around myself. Most survivors' abuse stops in childhood, but we all drag that anchor into our later life. Most of my friends to the Men's Project walked in their 40s or 50s like I did. So we've dragged that anchor around for 30 years. Forgiveness detached the anchor. I am still weighed down at times by my childhood. But when I'm weighed down, it's much less than in the past. And I can get it past it. I can have a bad day and not have it be a bad week. I was, if anybody could have been classified as a glass 90% empty, it was me. And I used to say to myself, just once I want that glass to be at least half empty, not even half full. And now I look upon myself as I'm a glass 3/4 full all the time. And what used to cause me profound challenges are like ripples now. And a lot of that is because of forgiveness and acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean I'm totally at peace with it, but I recognize that it happened and that I've got a lot of my life left that doesn't have to be defined by those 6.5 years of childhood.